You've been trained to be broke. You see, the school system has succeeded to train people to be broke. And that's the problem, because our society is getting more and more darker. Poverty looms around, especially in Africa. And it's not because Africa is not the greatest. It's not because Africa is not the wealthiest. Africa has proven to be the wealthiest continent in the face of the earth. But one reason Africans remain poor is that they don't learn about money from the cradle of their lives. And let me say this very well. You see, even the Bible says that there's an evil I see under the sun in the Ecclesiastics. In the Ecclesiastics, the Bible says that there's an evil I've seen under the sun. And what does the Bible say? The Bible says, this evil I have seen under the sun is that kings walk barefoot and while slaves ride on horses. So you see that kind of thing. So Africa, being the richest continent, is now becoming one of the poorest, because people who are supposed to meet Africa for help are now becoming rich. The whole world, you see Europe, you see Asia, you see America, they are all eating from Africa. I can tell you that. That's a fact. But why it seems that Africa is the poorest is because we don't learn about money from the cradle. And the school is a corporate. You've been trained to be broke. That's just the truth. You've been trained to be broke. Look at the school system, for example. The school system teaches you how to not make mistakes, do not cooperate, take the test by yourself, just sit down and shut up, do as you're told. And especially in some parts of Africa, if you talk in class, you are being flogged and you're being chastised and all those kind of, you're being caned on your behind and also and you see children go to school very happy, but oftentimes they come back paralyzed, they come back sad, they come back emotionally downcast, and they are being trained. The training they get at school is the direct opposite of what it really takes to be successful in real life. And so it takes a whole reprogramming of their mindset in order to be rich. And that's why you see when people get out of school, what's the normal trend for life? They tell you, go to school, have a good certificate, get a good paying job, work your life out 9 to 5 and get a car, get a house, get a wife, get some children, work until you are 65, until you are 50, and you retire and you collect pension. And that's the cycle of poverty. And you see, the employee mindset have been transferred to our children, and that's why our children do not have the motivation to go all out to be successful in what they really think is the recipe for success. We see that in the school system. The school system is training people to be broke. And that's why people do not really find legitimacy in their work, because if they apply the principle that they are taught in school, how to not cooperate, how there's only one answer to a problem. That's a lie. There are many answers to a problem. The problem of transportation, for instance, in this very dispensation, a bicycle is an answer to the problem of transportation. A car is an answer to the problem of transportation. I get what I'm saying? Owning a car, owning a bike, owning an aircraft, a race car. You see, all these are answers to the problem of transportation. How about the problem of global hunger and thirst? There are many systems being developed, for the effectiveness of the solution for the problem of scarcity of water and food. So all these things are answers to a problem. And so we cannot, if we take that school system and apply it in real life, there will be problems. And see, that's why I say the school system is a criminal system, because they have trained our children on how to live lives that are not the way God has made them to be. And they have created a slavery mindset where we are trained to be slaves. See, I had to reset my mind when I got out of secondary school. I had to reset my mind. And even in tertiary institution, I have to reset my mind. I have to read a lot of books. I have to pray. I have to watch a lot of videos. I have to read. The Bible talks about renewing your mind. In the book of Romans chapter 12 verse 2, the Bible says, do not be conformed to the systems of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So I had to renew my mind. You see, I have to renew my mind. I have to do a whole reprogramming. I have to do a factory reset of my mind. And I have to reprogram my mindset, because I discovered that I cannot be limited by the limitations of the schooling system. We are literally taught how to be poor. You see, this is a secret. There's a conspiracy to all these things. You see, the political elites have been able to program our mindset to be poor. They don't teach about wealth creation. I feel this is how school should be like. This is what I feel. How school should be like. School's supposed to be like this. This is how original school's supposed to be like. But you see, they're just stuck children about the routine. Do as you're told. They cane children on their buttocks if they do not obey the rules. What are the rules? Sit down, shut up, do what you're told. We don't care about your area of interest. We don't care about what you like. We don't care about what you think. Just do as you're told. Don't take your test alone. Do not cooperate. If you cooperate with others, it's called cheating. And all these kind of things are really. So when you get out of school, you cannot work. You cannot cooperate. You find hard time, because when you get out to outer society, you begin to discover that the society is quite different from what you learned back in school. And I believe this is how school system should be like. The school system was supposed to find out the area of a child's interest and develop that area. That's what I feel. That if a child has interest in music, for example, they're supposed to find out which area of music does the child like. The school system was supposed to study the child. We're supposed to study the child. Like, for instance, I grew up, I have an interest in writing, I have an interest in study, and I have an interest in learning because I was a speaker, I was a preacher, and I'm a motivational speaker. I don't understand. So they noticed that I have a good oratory, I can write, I have a good IQ. I literally came first in all my examinations. I don't understand that. So I begin to understand this, that the school system was supposed to look into my area of interest. I like writing, I like studying, and see how they can develop it. And I discovered something very real quick before we cut this close. I discovered it very real quick that there's no child that is dull. Let me say that again, sir. Let me say that again for those hearing me online. There's no child that is dull. There is no child on the face of the planet that is dull. I've just discovered it. I thought children were blockheaded. I discovered there's no dull child on the face of the planet. You see, it's not you that is dull. It's the school system that is dull on you. Every child is knowledgeable, but see, what makes a child dull is that the child is in a school that does not mature his or her potential. It's just like putting square pegs in round holes. A child has interest in music, and you are teaching the child how to be a lawyer. How does that connect? The child has an interest in arts and craft, and you're teaching the child how to be a doctor. You see, the child is not going to connect, and we often think the child is the problem. The child is dull, and we often put the child through rigors. We test the child, we chastise the child with literally in African school. We literally flog this child without noticing that the teaching system is the problem, not the child. And I've literally counseled a lot of parents who come to me telling me that their children are dull. And I said, the child's not dull. And I asked this child, what do you like doing? What do you like? And the child tell me, I like music. And the child tells me, for instance, I'm not child from Benue State, Nigeria. And the child said, I love making craft. I love designing houses, these toy houses, these miniature houses. And I was like, means this child has a desire for architecture. That's how I was. And now I'm drawing floor plans. I literally draw hundreds of floor plans. And I said, and I was like, this child has the desire for architecture. Why not send him to a school where they teach on architecture? But he's still in secondary school. Why not the school system teach this child how to pursue his area of interest? Why are they trying to force what they feel on the child? So the school system literally teaches children to be broke. They literally teach you to be poor. And the system, I repeat, the system has been rigged against you. From the medical system to the political system, to the agricultural system, to the economic system, the system has been rigged. And I don't have all the time to say that right now, but I know what I'm saying. The system has been rigged. That's why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. There's something behind the scene that these entrepreneurs and these politicians and these bankers and these doctors, there's something behind the scene that they are doing, that people continually remain at the mercy of the government. And it's really a problem. So you're being trained to be broke. The schooling system is a corporate. And I believe that for people to come out, for children to come out with a prosperity mindset and how to be rich, the school system has to restore two things into the school system. The school system has to restore God, and the school system has to restore money. Let me explain this real quick. Because we see, especially in Western schools and in some African schools, the subject of God has been removed from the schooling system. The schooling system no more sees the value of God. In so many American schools and British schools, they don't teach children how to pray. Prayer has been literally removed from the schools. And if children do not get to know about God, how are they going to succeed? Because mankind comes from God. Man is a spiritual being by default. And if you are removing God from the schooling system, means children cannot learn about God. And children cannot learn about God. You get what I'm saying? I see all those things. If children cannot learn about God, then they're not going to succeed, because the Bible says, I am the vine. Jesus Christ said, I am the vine and you are the branches. Without me, you can do nothing. So children must be connected to God. And the second thing is that the teaching of prosperity must be restored back to schools. Children must be taught how to develop their talents. Children must be taught how to develop what they know. Many people have interest in cooking, in cooking, in writing, in teaching. Everybody has interest and talent. We should focus more on developing what the child already got. We should not program what we have into the child. We should just develop what is already in the child. You see, God has already programmed in the child what the child should have. And you get what I'm saying? God has already programmed, for instance, that I will be a preacher, I will be a writer, and I will be a speaker. And so God has programmed it in the minds of these children. And we are not supposed to take something new or something different and try to force it into these children. We are supposed to highlight, we are supposed to draw out what they already are interested in. We are supposed to mature and develop their potential, not to try to bring in what we know into them. We're supposed to know what they want and how to develop it. I remember what a particular man told me when I just changed school, and he said, I know you have the calling to serve God. We will develop it here. And whether they really developed it there or not, I will not say it here, but that statement is very, very, I cannot forget that. You see, that's what school system was supposed to be about. Developing what is already inherent in the child. And I tell you, for children to really grow up and be well equipped to succeed, we must restore God, and we must restore talent development. We must restore the development of a child's talents. We must learn to develop a child's talent. We must restore God, and we must restore prosperity into the school, because children are literally taught to be beggars. Are you understand? So you restore these two things, I tell you, our schooling system will be the best. I mean, all across the nations of the world. Okay? And if we restore these things, the schooling system will be not just the best, but our children will come out of school well equipped to take on their generation for the Lord, and to take on their world, to subdue their world with the potential that God has already put in these children. All right? Thank you very much. Thank you very much.